What if I told you that a time machine isn't something we need to go out and build, but something we already have? Well, according to physicist Fred Alan Wolf, it turns out that quantum science and ancient mysticism have somehow arrived at the exact same stunning conclusion. Your own consciousness is the ultimate time machine. Okay, let's dive right into this absolutely fascinating idea. I mean, we all experience time like this, don't we? It feels like an arrow, just constantly shooting forward. The past is done, it's gone, the future isn't here yet, and we are just kind of stuck in the middle for the ride. But what if that whole feeling, that entire fundamental experience of reality, is just an illusion?
So, on the left here, you've got the classic river of time. It's the one we all know. We're like a boat floating downstream, right? The past is behind us, the future's up ahead. Simple. But on the right, well, that's a radically different idea, the lake of time. In this view, every single moment, your past, your present, and your future, it all exists at the same time. Your consciousness is the boat, and you're just choosing which spot on that lake to experience at any given moment.
To understand how any of this could possibly be true, we have to start by deconstructing our most basic assumption. We really need to see how our perception of time might just be a very clever trick that our minds are playing on us.
And look, this isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. It's actually backed by hard physics. The fundamental laws, from Einstein's relativity all the way to quantum mechanics, they don't show any real difference between the past and the future. The equations work perfectly whether you run time forwards or you run it backwards. So why do we only experience it going in one direction?
Well, this brings us to this amazing concept called the block universe. And a really great way to get your head around it is with an analogy. Think of a movie on an old-school film reel. Every single frame of that movie, the beginning, the middle, the end, it all exists all at once on that physical reel. Your consciousness is basically the projector, shining its light on just one single frame, and that makes it the present. But all the other frames, the past and the future, they're not gone or yet to be made, they're just not being lit up right now.
Okay, so if all of time really does exist at the same time, what is the projector? What's the mechanism that lets us navigate through it all? Well, it's not a machine made of steel and wires. The book argues that the time machine is your very own mind. You see, for a long time, we've thought of the brain as a classical computer, like a biological machine just processing one thing after another. In that model, free will is basically an illusion, and time travel is impossible. But a newer, more radical theory suggests our mind operates on a much deeper quantum level. It's like a quantum computer that can exist in multiple states at once. So instead of being on a single, predetermined track, our consciousness operates in a realm of pure probability, where tons of different futures are all possible at once.
And what this means is, if your mind is quantum, it has some pretty incredible properties. For one, it can be non-local, meaning it isn't strictly tied to a specific point in space and time. It works in the realm of potential and pure possibility. And, most importantly, it can theoretically connect to different points in that lake of time we were just talking about. This, right here, is the scientific foundation for our inner time machine.
Now, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do we actually put any of it into practice? Well, the book lays out a kind of yoga for time travel, a way to actually train your consciousness to harness these incredible abilities.
It all boils down to these 3 steps. First, you learn to stop time through focused observation. Then, second, you learn how to hear the future by tuning into all that subtle information that's flowing backwards. And third, you learn to heal the past by traveling back to a memory and completely changing its meaning.
So let's start with step 1, stopping time. This is based on a real and very strange principle in quantum physics called the Zeno effect. The core idea is that the simple act of watching something can actually prevent it from changing. It's kind of like that old saying, a watched pot never boils, but applied to the very fabric of reality itself.
And this is where it gets really personal. Meditation is the practical application of this effect. I mean, when you sit down and continuously observe your thoughts without judging them, you are applying the Zeno effect to your own chaotic stream of consciousness. You literally slow the flow of thoughts, and as they slow down, your internal experience of time slows down right along with them. This is the very first step on the ladder of time travel.
All right, now for step 2, hearing the future. This one requires us to really wrap our heads around another totally mind-bending concept, retrocausality. We always assume that cause comes before effect, but some quantum experiments suggest that information can actually flow backwards in time. That means a decision you make tomorrow could, in some subtle way, be influencing your reality today.
So, what does that even feel like? Well, have you ever had a really strong gut feeling or a sudden flash of intuition that just turned out to be spot on? The book suggests that these aren't just random guesses. They could actually be tiny bits of information that your future consciousness is sending back to you, like a whisper from the future to help guide you in the present.
And finally, we have step 3, healing the past. Now, this is not about going back to change what happened. You can think of it more like therapeutic time travel. You can use your focused consciousness to revisit a memory, but this time you observe it with all the wisdom and compassion you have today. You can't change the event, but you can fundamentally change its meaning for you, neutralizing its painful emotional charge, and in doing that, completely transforming your present.
So all of this leads us to the final and honestly the most powerful implication of this entire model. If you can stop time, if you can receive information from the future, and if you can heal the past, what does that say about your role in the universe?
This is the observer effect, and it's one of the cornerstones of quantum mechanics. It says that at its most fundamental level, reality exists as a wave of possibilities. It's just a soup of infinite potential. But the moment an observer, and that's you, looks at it, that wave of possibilities collapses into one single concrete outcome.
This quote just sums it up perfectly. You know, we've been taught to think of life as a movie that we're just passively watching unfold. But quantum physics suggests it's much more like an interactive video game. Your consciousness isn't just a passenger, it's the player, actively making choices that shape the game in every single moment.
Just think about that for a second. Every moment, you are standing before this sea of infinite potential futures, and through your focus, your beliefs, your feelings, your intentions, you are reaching into that sea of potential and pulling one of those futures into your concrete reality. You are literally choosing your own timeline. So ultimately, the big takeaway is this. The time machine isn't something out there in the world. It's in here. It's always been your own quantum mind. And that leaves us with the ultimate question. If you are the observer, if you are the chooser, the one who collapses the wave of possibility into the world you experience, what reality will you choose to create next?